Hi everyone, I'm here with the Vision teaching team. We've got Romilly, we've got Daniel, we've got Marianne, and we're here to talk about a really amazing device appeal that these guys are running in a minute. So Daniel, maybe you can kind of kick us off and tell you why you're doing this campaign in the first place.
Absolutely. And James, thanks for taking the time to do this. Obviously, we are coming through one of the most difficult challenges and periods of our lifetime that we're going to experience. We're almost coming up to a year. And this is a topic that's very, very close to our hearts and what we do as a business, having serviced over sort of 400 schools within London and really getting to understand the problem and hearing what these families and kids are going through every day. I appreciate there are a number of good causes out there, but this is really one of those hard-hitting, prevalent causes of this pandemic as far as we're concerned. It's staggering to think that when we started this 5 weeks ago, the number was as shocking as 1.7 million children without access to devices, therefore unable to get online for their learning. And a lot of people say, well, what's different about this time than last time? Well, lockdown 1 and lockdown 2, learning wasn't mandatory. That's the difference now. This is mandatory. There are multiple sessions and teachers are working extremely hard to get the learning out to kids. The gap on attainment is so wide now, coming into 12 months of this pandemic, that the government has really implemented this to be a mandatory learning session. And that's the main difference now at the moment. And as a business, we're passionate. We're obviously clearly not doing anywhere near the amount of trade that we would normally do. So with the extra time, and it's amazing that thankfully Romilly has come up with this great campaign that she's spearheaded, but all of our team have really passionately taken it on board, and they're coming up with great ideas. We've had chaps do rapping. We have got 2 guys who are walking the length of Sutton to Derby. Myself, I'm very passionate about this. I've lost my hair. I think I raised about £500 to shave my head the other day. So this is really something that's important and needs to be addressed. Some of the stories that we hear coming in about people that, one, have lost their jobs and financially are in trouble, but can't afford to pay for their children to have access to online learning through buying devices. It's heartbreaking. So, thankfully, this is where we got the idea, and Romilly's taken it from strength to strength, and we're doing this today because we really, really hope people can hear about what we're doing. It's about spreading the message and getting on board.
Thanks for that, Daniel. Romilly, maybe you can kind of give us a little bit more detail around the problem itself.
So the problem really stemmed from the DfE. So the schools weren't asked about how many devices that they need, and so straight away there's a massive device gap in the market. One of the particular areas that head teachers have been outraged by is that infant schools aren't entitled to any devices. The children that are learning to read, write and do maths have no access to online. That can affect as many as 350,000 pupils in London right now that come in that category that don't have the devices. So it's quite a big problem, and it's something that the schools don't have the budgets to fund for. And really, when we speak to the schools about what the actual problem is, these are families, disadvantaged families, that are sometimes having to survive on universal credit, and the decision they have to make is, do I put food on the table or do I buy my child a device to continue their education? And they can't at the moment, and there is a massive digital poverty out there. And that's what we're trying at the moment to close the gap on, because it's causing so much pressure on parents that feel they're failing their children, and schools that they have no support to get these devices at all.
I mean, it's terrible, isn't it? Right. So, Marianne, why is it so important to kind of solve the shortage kind of right now?
Well, if we look back to 2019, the big issue figures around child poverty are really concerning, and that was back in 2019. So we were looking at 30% of children across the UK living in poverty. That is 9 children out of every 30 in a classroom. London has the highest child poverty rates of the country as well. So if we reflect on those figures, as well as what Romilly and Daniel have said already, we need to act now because this has been worsened by COVID. We know that children living in poverty are already suffering with their mental health, and we need to support their well-being. Without access to online learning, this is getting even worse. So we need to act now. We need to work within our communities to do so, because we need to strengthen links to be able to support pupils and schools effectively across London.
Thanks for that, Marianne. Romilly, what would the impact be if we don't do this now? If we don't support our future generations with these devices, how's that going to affect their kind of continuing education?
Well, one of the things that we're focusing on this week is it's actually Children's Mental Health Awareness Week. And one of the greatest concerns that we've heard from parents and we've heard from teachers and we've heard from schools is this mental health, that basically their self-esteem, their confidence, they're being isolated by not being able to talk to their friends, not being able to connect to the online community. They're worried about this having a wider implication, so that, you know, when they do come back to school, there's going to be such a difference between themselves and their other pupils that may create a whole nother problem about learning gaps and how people feel going into school. So really for us, you know, we don't want people to feel like there's a rich and poor divide about whether a child gets an education in the UK and how this goes on to affect their mental health in the future. We want to make sure everyone is included and everyone's getting the support that they need right now in lockdown.
Yeah, thanks for that, Romilly. Marianne, what exactly are you trying to kind of achieve with the appeal?
Well, I mean, ideally, of course, we'd like to help as many pupils and schools as possible. We are doing as much as we can to get donated devices and raise the funds to be able to get these distributed. But really, the impact that we want to have and achieve with this is knowing that we have been able to help during these times, again, reflecting what Daniel said, when we've had the ability to do so. We want people to know that we're there to support within the sector, not just service the sector. We're part of the communities of where our schools are, where our teachers live, and where our pupils live too. So that's really important for us as an organisation, that we can work with other, you know, as organisations, work with communities across London to really solve some of the issues that we have. And unless we strengthen those links, we won't be able to do that. So yes, we want to help pupils with devices, but this is just a start of something that we know is bigger. It's again, going back to the you know, statistics on child poverty and what we know about tech poverty. If we don't do these things now, we won't be able to achieve even more, but this is a great starting place. If we can get the devices to pupils, we can hopefully put them in a better position for when they return to school. And that also supports the schools and the teachers that we work with.
Amazing. Daniel, if anybody wants to get involved and anyone's watching right now, how do they go about it?
Absolutely. Well, look, here's the important stuff. We cannot do this without your help. We've currently got 112 schools waiting for over 600 devices. All right, that's a huge amount. So please do help out. There's two parts to this process. We're looking for secondhand devices, so we need to actually get our hands on the tech. Those are any big businesses that are upgrading, downgrading, you know, looking to change or move offices that want to get rid of those. Please get in touch. You can get in touch via private message, or you can email us at community@visionteaching.co.uk, or any individual. We've had lots of individuals that have kindly sort of called up and said they're looking to get rid of their PC or their laptop. Don't be afraid if it's just one makes a difference to a child. And then the other side of this is we do need the cash. We need the cash to refurbish the machines. Once we've got hold of those physical machines, it costs about £40 per unit to have them taken away, wiped, and have the new Windows processing reinstalled, so a child can get to use that machine. So GoFundMe, you can find it on all of our LinkedIn posts. The link to get there, donate what you can. As little as £5 adds up. If enough people do it, it goes a long way. Or get in touch about how to, if you've got secondhand devices, and we will find a way to work with you to get those. I probably shouldn't say this, but because we're doing lots of weird and wonderful things, if you have a challenge that you want to see either myself or one of the guys do that's within reason, you know, we're doing anything we can to raise the awareness. We'll put a guide price in place, and if we can raise enough money to do it, we'll carry out that challenge, just to make it a little bit more fun and engaging. But this really is a worthwhile cause, not just one that's going to continue until lockdown eases. You know, these children, the gap is going to be there for the next 2 or 3 years, and those children that don't have a device need to have a device so that they can do the tutoring, the homework, whatever comes after this lockdown, to close that gap on the attainment. You know, so we're going to be doing this for as long as we need to be.
Thanks, guys. That was amazing. Anyone who wants to get involved, all the contact details will be at the end of this video. I urge you to kind of do what you can. And as Daniel's all kind of set yourselves a challenge, I think I'm going to come up with something pretty good for Daniel to and maybe do.
Maybe you should direct this one at Romilly, James.
No, I think
Sorry
I
to throw you
think I'll
under the
direct it
bus
at you,
there,
Daniel. It'll
Romilly.
be fine. So if anybody wants to get if anybody wants to get involved, all the details will be kind of after the end of this video, and we'll be sharing everything on social media. And there's also pages on the Vision Teaching website, so go check that out there. So thanks again, guys, and good luck.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Bye.
Bye.